So I had the opportunity to play Samurai Unicorn, and now, based on my time with it, I am left with the feeling of I cannot wait for the full game. And I mean, I felt this way a bit before actually playing it. I wanted to. I saw it on Twitter, looked really promising, an action horror title with a PS1 look to it. Kind of like that fusion of new gameplay mixed with an older look. But it is one thing to look good and another thing to actually play good too. Well, after spending some time with this title, yes, it is a blast to play. I am fully intrigued to see how the full game turns out. The demo playtest is honestly really fun and gives me a lot of hope for this full release. I do not want this game to get lost in the indie shuffle, so yes, keep an eye out on this one. At the start, you can see those influences at hand here, Resident Evil and all of that. I love the use of the PS1 graphic style and how drawing from that time period allows for this older, more raw feel and look to the game in a way. Almost like how you're seeing a movie that was shot on film is much different than seeing one that's shot on digital. This has that old school effect look and feel, and the lighting is good with dark areas and especially a good spookiness. I was curious and on edge while playing, especially at the start. Dusk can even be seen, adding a nice element to the atmosphere as well. This place appears to be abandoned. Even early on, exploration is rewarded, with you finding additional currency. You don't know what it's used for at this point, but intrigued as it relates to its value. Then there's notes and other sorts of things helping to texture the environment, make it feel a bit more lived in. Nice touches showing that developers working on this are commanding a knowledge of what they are inspired by, along with what they are trying to deliver on too. Shooting also feels pretty good. I really like how enemies will stumble, fall, get stunned, and even act injured based on you shooting them. There is a melee attack that doesn't feel too useful, maybe it can get upgraded down the line, but the stomp is similar to Dead Space and can be a good way to conserve on ammo.
Do you actually know what we're looking for here?
When I see it, I'll tell you.
So we're risking disciplinary action over a hunch again?
Fox Pass wants something that Goliath's been hiding here. I think that's...
With this being my first time with this game, I was sort of experimenting as it pertains to fighting enemies. You do fight some foes early on, and the first time I went up against them, I actually ended up dying. Upon this first encounter, I was initially like, they take too much damage, headshots don't seem to do enough, and so on. I was getting a little frustrated. Then I tried again and found out that the game has some pretty satisfying dismemberment as well. A hand was blown off. I went through this part again and I was curious if you could blow off a leg, totally hindering their movement. Again, they can move pretty fast, especially if they're trying to get you. To my surprise, you could blow off that leg, and I noticed another cool detail. I would shoot them in the head, and while it seemed to stun them, I got a better look while they were crawling, and it would appear that their head is heavily armored, so I wondered if I was actually doing any damage to begin with. So if I shot them in the body, there would be blood. None for this enemy with a headshot. My conclusion is that it appears enemies have some invincibility spots and other weaknesses, and in this case this is very Dead Space-like, where it sort of inverts the notion of a headshot, a clever nod for the first enemy in the game. Along with that, you're getting a lot of information, learning and bettering all through playing. You are not told any of this, and this was all just over a matter of a few minutes. It created meaningful gameplay along with discovery on how the game worked. This was smart, I really liked it a lot, and made for a really cool first fight for the first set of foes. What is even funnier is that the game actually does tell you how to defeat these enemies, but I ended up doing a side path first, so I didn't get that tutorial screen. Personally, I think the game shouldn't have one, and just let the player experiment, but either way, through this exploration and additional paths, the game provided those fun moments. There are little things that I appreciated too when it came down to the game or even its details you find within it. For example, I love the cinematic camera movement, how the game just went right into gameplay from a cutscene. This is such a simple and small thing, and yet it adds a really cool and appreciated movie-like effect, as the player is then able to control their character following the cutscene. Bigger AAA games struggle with this and don't have transitions that good. Usually there is some type of break from the CGI cutscene in the game, or something of that nature. But here we have a simple yet seamless transition, and well, it's just the kind of style that I really like and noticed right away. The same can be said with how I talked about the enemy reactions to your hits, and the dismemberment too. You feel those Resident Evil and even Dead Space influences very well here. As it pertains to flaws, while I thought the voice acting did range from pretty good to wooden at times, I think the sound mixing for the characters could be a bit better, like boosting up the sound itself from them talking over the music or environmental sounds. With this being an early demo and probably more playtesting being done, this is something I think can present itself better for the public release of the game. Again, it isn't bad, but you can tell that the game could benefit from tighter sound mixing, especially within those cutscenes. Another area that I think could benefit with this title is having a slider for sensitivity while looking and another while aiming. Right now there is just one slider for this, and it affects both your looking along with your aiming. Personally, I would prefer a faster look speed and a slower aim speed, but having those toggles, this is another area I think will probably be an easy fix and option to add to the game. One funny issue I did have a few times was where I pulled out my shotgun but it wouldn't show up. So I had it, but it would just be invisible in my hands. I do want to point out too that I think enemies can be a bit cheap, where they can quickly hit you and you lose a lot of life rather quickly. This I think comes down to balancing. More tweaking here is needed, I think. Along with balancing, it can seem that when you're shooting enemies with your bullets, you're not always doing damage. Sometimes it would seem like this would happen a bunch with a shotgun. I'd shoot an enemy, and then sometimes shots would connect, but it wouldn't really look like I'm actually doing damage. I know a lot of this probably comes down to the roughness of this being an early build. As it pertains to my brief time with this early build of the game, I really enjoyed it. The action horror shooting is enjoyable. The PS1 look allows for a nice mixing of something that looks retro with more modern gameplay. I am excited to see where the full game takes us, or even where a new demo might be as well. This has the potential to be one of those great indies. Right now, it is easily a game that after getting a taste for it, I see the potential. It seems to be delivering, and I had a good time with this. So keep Samurai Unicorn on your radar. What are your thoughts on all of this? Have you heard of this title before this video? Let me know all of this in the comments down below. If you're interested in supporting the channel, please check out my Patreon page. For just $1 a month, you can help to keep this channel going strong, and this allows me to be able to do more for my awesome audience. Please check out the links in the description and pinned comment for ways to support the channel. And most of all, thank you very much for watching.